Comrades, thank you. For those that aren't from the constituency of Jarrow and Gateshead East, thank you for coming today. It's a real honour to speak at the Jarrow Rebel Town Festival in a town that's never forgotten where it comes from and never been afraid to say whose side it is on. Can I start by thanking everyone who has made today possible, because I don't think that's been done as yet. The organisers, the banner carriers, trade unionists, community groups, and everyone who's turned out today to keep Jarrow's history alive. It's always a privilege to share a platform with David Douglas, with Lewis, and with Tony. Thank you for coming and speaking today. Since the last Rebel Festival, we've seen the worrying rise of fascism in the UK, with hate being driven by reform and their ilk, local councils being run by homophobes, racists and sexists. Our rebel spirit and unity is needed more than ever to take on that politics of hate. And that spirit is alive and well here today and in Makerfield this week. The victory for Andy Burnham in Makerfield shows that hope can win over hate. That politics is circular should never be forgotten. We have to continuously fight for equality, for progress, for hope, and that's why we need rebels like us to keep pushing for socialism and for more for our communities. This festival remembers the 7 men of Jarrow transported to Australia in 1832 for a crime that we all know that they did not commit. They were framed by those in charge because they were rebels, because they were determined to organise, because the powers that be didn't then and still don't want working people to organise. Today we mark the history of trade unionism, mining, shipbuilding, the general strike, the Durham lockout and the international fight against fascism in Spain. This year it also gives us a chance to mark 90 years since the Jarrow Crusade, when 200 unemployed men set off from this town to London, carrying with them the hopes and anger of a community that had been abandoned. The men did not march for nostalgia or to become a symbol. They marched because they wanted work. They marched because Palmer's shipyard had closed, because industry had been stripped out of the town, because skilled workers had been left idle, and because families were being forced to live in poverty. Those conditions remain today, when working class communities are ignored, when people can't get a GP appointment, when buses disappear, when rents rise, when wages do not stretch, when councils are underfunded, when town centres decline, and when young people feel trapped in a jobless future. Anger grows. And if Labour does not give that anger a socialist answer, the far right will give it a reactionary one. We know Reform UK do not have answers for our towns. They will not rebuild industry. They will not restore Sure Start. They will not fund local services. They will not give workers power in the workplace. They will not take on landlords, profiteers or privatised utilities. Their politics depends on working class people blaming other working class people. They monetise hate, getting rich off the back of dividing our communities and turning neighbours against each other. The politics of hate, of dehumanisation pushing out from their elected politicians, from Farage to locals with racism, from a Reform councillor in Gateshead, sexism with a Reform councillor in Harton. But not only the men, even their women seem to hate women, with the awful Sarah Poaching MP yesterday blaming football results for domestic violence. Now, domestic violence is not a joke, and football does not give violent men an excuse to hit women. And of course, the homophobia, refusing to fly the pride flag and removing money from community groups. It's not funny. The reform politicians spouting this hate aren't just stupid, they're dangerous. and they risk damaging the very fabric of society. But we are fighting back with Durham Pride being bigger and better than ever, funded by the trade unions, to Sunderland Pride next weekend, when the flags will be flying high in solidarity with our LGBTQ+ community. It is our job as a movement to bring people together, to show that unity is strength and to understand what drove people to vote for them. We cannot win people back simply by exposing reform or telling people that they are wrong to be angry, because people are understandably angry and frustrated. The question is where that anger is directed and how we can bring hope back. Now, I'm not going to stand here and tell you that Andy Burnham is our saviour. I turned 60 this week and I'm far too old and wise to put my faith in messiahs. But hope springs eternal, and his election is an opportunity to drive change both in the Labour Party and in the country. The conversations I had in Makerfield were familiar, a northern town left behind and desperate for investment and change. Different place, different history, different community, but the same themes and a political choice. A choice about what kind of politics speaks to towns like theirs and towns like ours. A choice between hope and hate. Andy Burnham spoke about work, pride, public services, transport, housing and dignity. He spoke in a language people recognised, not because he had some magic answer to every problem, and not because any one person can fix the Labour Party by themselves, but because he understood something important, that Labour has to be clearly and unequivocally on the side of working class people. And that message of hope landed. People voted to send Andy to Parliament with a 9,000 majority, a significant defeat for the right wing. What we need to see now is that rebel spirit taken into the heart of government to deliver radical redistribution to northern communities and real change that people can see and feel in their pockets. That means good jobs, not any jobs, but good jobs. Secure jobs, unionised jobs, jobs people can raise a family on. It means public services people can rely on. Investment in our fire service, our NHS. It means buses that actually turn up. It means schools, hospitals, councils and care services funded properly. It means homes that people can afford. It means bringing essential services like Northumbria Water back into public ownership. And Royal Mail. And plenty of others. It's a long list. And it means saying without apology that wealth and power in this country have to be redistributed. When people are offered something other than fear, division and managed decline, they can and will choose it. I want Andy Burnham to be the next leader of the Labour Party, and I'm looking forward to welcoming him into Parliament on Monday. We need to use this opportunity to fight for the Labour Party, and a Labour Party that we all need. A party that fights for socialism, a party of and for trade unionists, a party that does not see social movements as a nuisance, or the left as something to be managed, excluded or briefed against. A party that understands that government by itself is not enough. We need a movement in the country. We need people organised in their workplaces, on their estates, in their communities, in their unions and in their local Labour parties. A politics that delivers a wealth tax, clear redistribution investment in the north, a party where policy is shaped by the people who live with the consequences of political decisions, and a party and government that stands up for human rights internationally, that speaks out against the warmongers and calls out what is happening in Palestine as genocide. So let's take this rebel spirit and use it to organise and fight back in our communities, in our party. Thank you very much indeed.